How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 15 Chapter 7. This is Season 15 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 7. In this episode, we will be linking our discussions regarding many-layered reality with the consensual and non-consensual reality. First of all, in the episode on multi-layered reality, we discussed how the willing suspension of disbelief, the immersion of one's impulses in any substrate, transmutes identity into the substrate of that experience. This occurs because any substrate can be imbued with some degree of consciousness. More importantly, the extension of consciousness into the substrate of experience intermingles our impulses in the substrate, which become reactive to it, as if it is alive in and of itself. When that substrate is another's expressive action, whether it be their hand or body language, their facial expressions or their words, that substance is already imbued with consciousness, which entangles one's impulses in a reactive substrate. Thus, it is this quality, the willing suspension of disbelief, which generates the extension of consciousness into some substrate, producing an intermingling of our projections with a living substance. Now, we can also see that the discontinuities in our consciousness will shape our observations of that substrate, just as the continuity of our thought will do the same, according to the narratives that filter into us from outside. This intermingling is not a mere illusion, but is a true shaping of reality around ourselves. Further, the willing suspension of disbelief is essentially a consensual act. So it is also true to say that the projection of reality, from and to these 5 spatial plates, represents the extension of our consensual reality into the substrate of our observations. So it is not just that the 5 plates represent 5 consensual realities, it is that our observations stratify a substrate into non-consensual and consensual components. For example, let's say we are focused on the body language of someone we are communicating with, specifically the hand movements they make while speaking. This tells us that that plate, separated from the rest, acts in furtherance of our consensual narratives. While the remaining plates represent non-consensual counterparts, manifestations of our shadow self, complete with narratives subjugated by our consciousness into the depths of our subconscious and unconscious minds. Since we also know that consensual realities generate space for an internal mind, a private space of consciousness for introspection, we can see that it is as if our observation and the stratification it generates creates pockets of negation around the expressive actions of others we are observing, or more precisely the specific substrate of action corresponding to which of the spatial plates we are focused on. In effect, what I am saying is that the non-consensual layers to others' actions may be manifold in their precursor states, multiplicitous states, but the resolving gesture described in the last episode is always a consensual reality because it preserves the pocket of our consciousness, inherent to our present. Finally, since the act of exegesis involves the abstraction of the personal, we know that it eliminates the context, dilutes the reality of the experience. So long as glitches are followed by exegesis, we may continue to witness them, as in the exegesis is the destruction of the particular, leaving only the fact of a class of experiences remaining in its shadow. Exegesis, abstraction, non-contextual thought, is the pathway toward observing the truly multiplicitous nature of this reality. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.